All right. Well, moving on to the next topic. So this is a gaming related topic also that this started getting reported during E3, and then it really took form last week. Um, but basically, so the Resident Evil 2 remake is being created right now. It's being developed by Capcom. We have not seen it. We've not seen anything of it. We have no idea what the hell this movie's about. Game is about. Aside from the fact it's a remake, we don't even know what style. Is it going to be like the RE1 remake? We don't know. But some news has trickled out that according to Allison Court, who was the voice of Claire Redfield in the original Resident Evil 2, as well as Code Veronica, and also I think she was in Degeneration, the CGI film. She wasn't in Revelations 2, they hired somebody else. But reportedly, she was asked if she would want to reprise the role. And the company that's being tasked with providing voiceover for the game in the U.S. reportedly chose to take a different approach and retracted their offer from Allison Court, and they have decided to use non-union actors to voice the characters in Resident Evil 2. And there's a quote from Allison Court that she said, "I would have done it because I know you guys wanted me to, and I really appreciate your support. I appreciate the outrage you had towards Capcom and everyone involved. But unfortunately, as far as I know, they chose to go non-union with the voice performances." And that was from a video she did on YouTube, and in a separate video, she elaborated and she explained that this decision was made prior to the start of the video game voice actor strike that's going on right now. So their use of non-union actors was unrelated to that. So that, which makes it even more perplexing news. And subsequently, Matt Mercer, who's currently voice acting Leon Kennedy, and Courtney Taylor, who is also the current voice actor for Ada Wong, have both tweeted that their experiences were the same as Allison Court's, and that they will not be returning to the Resident Evil 2 remake as well. So that's kind of the news, man. Essentially, Capcom chose, or at least they went with a company that will be voicing, that will be recording these characters and taking care of that. They've decided to go non-union. And so it's going to be a completely different cast for the whole game. But dude, what I find the most perplexing about this news is they made this choice prior to the voice actor strike. So it's not even like that affected their choice. They just decided not to use union actors. I don't know what to make of this, man. I think it's such weird news. Like, you would think they would want to please people with this remake.
Well, ironically, Chris, whilst you were doing that, I was researching in the IGN comment section to see what people's opinions were. And a lot of them were like kind of good. And not because
Really?
they weren't against the strike, but they were more against the fact that the Resident Evil 2 voice actors and acting and stuff were quite terrible, which in itself was an eye-opening moment for me, because I was like, right, because I do support the strike. I understand why the voice actors are doing it. I understand they want more recognition. It is a hard industry. It's a tough industry, and sometimes you are undervalued in it as well.
Right.
So fair enough on that basis. But at the same time, as I think it's a bit interesting that you said they did it before, everything else happened. So they're obviously looking at changing for certain things.
Right.
But I kind of agree with them, because the voice acting and like acting in this game was quite terrible, as you remember the first game as well. It was completely like, it was the 90s and it was really cheesy and everything else, but it was a little bit too much. Everyone remembers Jill Sandwich and everything else. It's kind of like, right, okay. But
I
gonna cover that.
Well, I in a way I get Allison Court, but what I think is weird is, man, they reached out to these people, and then they said, "Oh, actually, no."
Yeah.
That's the weird part for me, because like I'd be like, okay, no harm, no foul. In the first game, when they remade that game, like that, it was a whole new cast. I mean, they didn't go find. Remember, Chris's voice actor was just credited as Charlie. that was his name. They didn't go out to find Charlie, or any of these other people. I get that, but it's just odd that it looked like for a hot minute they were like, "Oh, let's get Allison Court because people didn't like the Revelations 2 Claire voice actor. Let's get the one that we've used
Hmm.
prior to that." Cuz dude, Allison Court was even in that Operation Raccoon City. She was in that game too. So they kept
Oh
you
yes.
yeah, they kept yeah, that piece of shit. So they kept but what I'm saying is they used her for a long time, and then they used someone else in Revelations 2, and then it looked like they were going to go back to her, and then said, nah, let's just go non-union. And it's weird because they have a really good relationship with Matt Mercer as well. They just released Resident Evil Vendetta, that CG movie, and he voice acts Leon in that. So just a year ago, I would assume that, he laid the voices for that, or in the last couple of years. So even that, is a bit odd that they switched the voice actor and they just used him. It just, I don't know, I don't get that. Why bother going through that or going? I mean, I don't know if it has something to do with the budget, because if they're non-union, you can pay them minimum wage, and pay them $8 an hour or some bullshit like that. So I don't know if it's related to budget or anything like that, but I just can't understand why go through that effort of offering something and then retracting it, and then like being like, whoopsie, we're gonna go
Yeah,
non-union.
there's obviously something a bit more something that we don't know about this.
Yeah.
Um, which is probably going to be a reason why they haven't done it in the end. But I think it is the union strike is like kind of like it has been like a long and turbulent road between the gaming studios and gaming unions to kind of sort this problem out. And it depends how you see it, because like it is one of those, like Resident Evil 2, as I've just said, like it wasn't brilliant in any kind of capacity in the acting kind of thing, and we remakes are kind of a sketchy kind of like subject like to talk about, because where do you go? Because like it's almost like the Twin Snakes effect. Like you had some of the great voice actors in the first game and they replaced them in the remake, and it just didn't sound right.
Yeah.
Because that was already in itself, that game is already like a masterpiece as it was. So when you change little things, people will automatically kind of be like, oh. But at the same time, this could potentially make Resident Evil 2 better, if they improve the acting chops.
Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility this game could come out kicking ass, because they've already switched. We've had it before in the past. Voice changes, and it didn't, affect the joy, for these games or anything like that. So yeah, it's possible. I'm not saying that this game's, oh man, automatically sucks because Allison Court's not in it. Nothing like that. It's just, I think it was just such a peculiar case, and we seem to be getting this a lot. I mean, obviously for very different reasons, but as we discussed, I think last week, with Life is Strange, with there, again, a non-union actor. It's crazy what's happening. It's
Mhm.
I don't know. I think now we're starting to see this effect on just. I know this is a different case, but just generally speaking, I think we're seeing an effect of that happen on all this. But I don't know. I mean, it's been 2 years and they haven't even mentioned RE2. This is the first RE2 news we've had since the game was announced 2 years ago. So it's like, fuck. This is like not the best news to promote your game, but maybe after RE7's DLC is done, we'll get some more news, and maybe we'll get a trailer next year, or fuck, even at PlayStation Experience, we might get a trailer, and we'll get a better idea of what's going on with it. But
Hopefully.
yeah, hopefully this is the this is like what we're clawing at for video game news now. In the weeks after E3.